Hello and welcome back to the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. I am Garion Reaver. This is the second battle taking place between Clan Deathtoll, the Skaven, and a goblin tribe which is ostensibly part of the Skull Smashers faction. First things, let's have a quick look at the armies. First we have the Clan Deathtoll force out of Carrick Varn. This is being led by Plague Priest Bilefroth, who is ostensibly one of the 5 leaders, depending on who you ask, of Clan Deathtoll. He's been sent by Warlord Gritcher to establish a forward base to begin harassing, and he has been sent with Chieftain Cruiser, who is Gritcher's chief enforcer. They are also backed up by Muta Slack, who is also, he's the most tentative of the 5 leaders of Clan Deathtoll, who has some rat ogres. Here's the total force. I like having big units of Skaven slaves. I find them very useful in this, but it is largely a plague force under Bilefroth's command. On the opposing side, this is not technically part of the Skull Smashers. This is more just a goblin tribe that is in the way, and I'm using it more as an example of to work out the starting strength that the Skull Smashers have. So these characters are basically completely unconnected. This is being led by Naffnat Orc Lord, who has somehow managed to get some orcs under his command, and his maybe son, Lil Naffnat. And then there are the twin shamans, Glazog and Skarzog. The total force is here, and it is almost entirely goblins, backed up with a single unit of orcs and some trolls. But apart from that, it's goblin riders, chariots, archers, and spear chuckers. This will be a battle for the pass scenario at 1,500 points, and to quickly go over the terrain, we have a scree slope, which means charging, fleeing, marching, and pursuing causes difficult terrain. Dangerous terrain. I keep saying difficult terrain, but I mean dangerous. A hill here. We have 2 Idols of Mork and Gork, which allows units within 6 inches to reroll failed charge distance, indicated by the green circles. And then we have a Magma Pool, which isn't official terrain, but is something that I saw online and thought fit Blackfire Pass, which is where the battle is taking place. So that has a variety of rules. And then these 2 are just impassable. And because this is a battle for the pass, we're playing lengthways instead of... we're playing long ways instead of lengthways. Is that the right way to say it? Anyway. So we're deploying at these ends. And these sides are impassable. So units can flee off them, but other units can't move on or off. To start, I will determine the sides that they'll be deploying on. So blue is Deathtoll, red is Goblins. Blue, so the Skaven decide, and they want to start here. They don't want to deal with the lava pool, the magma pool, if they can avoid it. Bilefroth is using the Law of Plague, but as Skaven didn't get an 8th edition rulebook they released just at the end of 7th edition, their laws are missing quite a few sort of staple things. So I'm actually using a slightly homebrewed version of their law. So this is, I believe, predominantly made from the Warhammer Armies Project version, but I didn't really like it fully, so I made some tweaks to it myself, which I will cover as we go. So first of all, I will roll for his spells. He's a level 2 wizard, so he could have a Cloud of Corruption. That's probably not the best fit for against a horde army like the Orcs and Goblins, so I'll take Pestilent Breath as a signature spell instead. And, Plague. Plague is one of my favourite spells in the entire game, if I'm honest, so I will definitely be having Plague as the second spell. Skarzog and Glazog are both using the Law of the Little War, and they are both level 2 wizards. So Skarzog first. Vindictive Glare. I'd say that's pretty good against Skaven. And Gift of the Spider God gives poisoned attacks. I will also go with that one. And now Glazog. Itchy Nuisance. Yeah, that could throw some spanners in. And Gift of the Spider God. So because I've drawn the same thing that I already have, that means I can choose what I want to use. And I think I will go with Curse of the Bad Moon. So Skarzog has Vindictive Glare and Gift of the Spider God, and Glazog has Itchy Nuisance and Curse of the Bad Moon. Now I will roll off to determine who deploys first, with Skaven being blue again. And it is the Orcs and Goblins, which makes sense, as this is their tribe that's being attacked. I will start with the big unit of Orcs. The difficulty here is that they're going to have to maneuver around the idols, which are right in the middle of the pass, while avoiding the magma pool. So I'll put them right there. And I'll start with the Plague Monks, which also has Biofroth, and put that there ready to also go round it, round the idols in the middle. The Goblin Archers only have a range of 18, which is really not much, so I can't afford to put them behind the magma pool, sadly. But I will have the big unit of goblins right here. It's a horde of goblins. And I will face them with the clan rats. Got to be careful of the scree slope. And I also get the poison wind mortar, and that can go over the scree slope without issue because it's unlikely to be charging, fleeing, marching, or pursuing. Wolf Riders, I think, round here, and they're going to get faced with a big unit of Skaven slaves. The Goblin Archers, they are probably just going to have to go here just because I need them to be somewhere that they can shoot and such, with the Skaven slaves again facing them. And now I've just got smaller things. Oh, I've got the trolls. I haven't really left anywhere for the trolls. They should really go there, but that seems like a very bad idea to put trolls in magma. I'm going to put the trolls behind the Wolf Riders because the Wolf Riders are going to be fast, so the trolls are going to be able to keep up with them a bit. The Rat Ogres are going on this flank, which is a bit unusual for me. Normally I like to have the Skaven slaves right on the flank, but I have a bit of a plan there. The two Wolf Chariots over here, and then the final Skaven unit of the Poison Wind Globadiers, which are going to go on that flank. And they barely fit. Naffnat is going to sit in the middle, because the mistake I always make is putting the general on the flank, especially if they're on a chariot or something like that. Whereas I need to make use of the Inspiring Presence, particularly with Orcs and Goblins. And as we're out of Skaven, I will have a Goblin Spear Chucker over here that's got a range of 48, which is quite a bit. And then the last unit I will put... Ooh, I'm going to put it there, because I can't really have stuff going around because of the rock in the way, and that might give it a bit of cover. Oh, no, hang on. Much better idea. Put it behind the magma. Because then anything that's going to attack it will have to go through there. I should have put that one there and the other one there, really, but too late now. And you'll notice that there are 3 nasty skulkers that are hidden in a unit of goblins, which will reveal themselves in time. And then over here we have the Globadiers in their non-skirmish form for if they get into melee. And now that deployment is done, we roll once more to determine who goes first, with the Skavens, that's the blue, getting a +1 because they finished deploying first. Skaven go first, or Skaven choose if they want to go first, is how I rule it. And yeah, Skaven are going to go first. You'll also notice that there isn't really much in the way of the interesting contraptions, like the Doom Wheel is one of my favourite things. I could have also brought stuff like the Warp Lightning Cannon and that sort of thing. But I thought, because this is like a forward force going into uncharted terrain, particularly a pass, that they wouldn't want to take their really rickety stuff in. That's why it's almost entirely, well, it is entirely like infantry. So that's the sort of thing that they would send into this narrower area just to clear out the residents so that they can bring through their more ponderous items. Skaven movement phase 1. Most things have a movement of 5 except the Rat Ogres, or the Rogers as I call them, who have a movement of 6. So first let's get these just to move straight up. I won't march them. And then the Plague Monks as well. Everything is surging forward. Both sets of Skaven slaves. And the Rogers, I'm aware of the chariot. So I'm going to just move them up a little less. Just up to there, but also a little to the side to make sure they completely miss the scree slope. And then the last unit is the Glabardiers, who are going to move up to there, and then they'll rotate probably next turn. Magic. A total of 5 power dice for the Skaven, and 3 Dispel for the Orcs and Goblins. So relatively low power one. Channeling the Plague Priest, no. Channeling the 2 Goblin Shaman, no. So the way the homebrew Plague Lore works, they get Plague Rash, which is whenever a spell is successfully cast, all enemy units within 6 suffer -1 to their movement and initiative, and I think this is directly from the Warhammer Armies project. Signature spell Pestilent Breath is a direct damage, because you see because it was 7th edition, it didn't have like terms like direct damage, it didn't have the ability to upcast, and it didn't have lore attributes, all of which are sort of fairly central to Magic in 8th edition, which is why I felt the need to improve them. Pestilent Breath is a low strength breath weapon with no armor saves. And then Plague is what I consider to be one of the most fun spells in the game. You can basically curse an entire battle line, and it's almost certainly what I'm going to be casting right now. It's the only thing, because Pestilent Breath is too short range. So yes, I'm going to cast Plague. Range of 18. Are they in range? Oh, they're actually not. So no, there is no magic to be cast, because they're not within range. Ah, damn, if I'd marched him... I suppose if I'd marched him, he wouldn't be able to cast spells. Alright. No magic then. On to shooting. The Glabardiers have a range of 8, which again, well out of range, but the Poison Wind Mortar has a range of 24. So that I can. So I can place it anywhere within 24, and I'm thinking slap bang in the middle of this unit. Although if I can hit it so that it gets the champion, that would be ideal. Yeah, let's go there, because hit that one guy who's at the back. Sorry, the sizings on these bases isn't quite right. So yeah, I did the best I could, but they should be a little bit larger than this. But anyway, that will hit all of those, but I need to roll Scatter. And it is a miss, but only by 2 inches. So that moves 2 inches this way, and is still a pretty good hit. And the Poison Wind Mortar... By the way, the Skaven are one of my favourite armies. Like, they are one that I legitimately collected. Do still collect. They have some of my favourite models, like the Screaming Bell and the Doom Wheel are among my favourite models in all of Warhammer. And I just really enjoy them. But yes, the Poison Wind Mortar wounds anything under it on a 4. Sorry, the thing under the centre on a 4 and everything else on a 5. So I'll roll the 4 first. That's a wound. And, oh, the champion is hit. So I'll roll the champion separately. No wound on the champion. By my reckoning, that's 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, yeah, he should be on that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That should probably be that one as well. 13. Is that? No, I'm going to let that guy off, but 12. Only 1 success. That is pretty abysmal. That is horrendously unlucky for the Skaven. But we have our first casualties, 2 goblins. No other range unit, no combat, so we go into the goblins, turn 1. Is there any chance of getting a charge off? They have a movement of 9. Ah, hang on. Before I do any of that, I need to do Animosity, which is an Orcs and Goblins thing. So I have to test Animosity for the Goblin Archers, the big Goblin unit, and the boys, but I don't think I have to test it for the Wolf Riders. Oh no, yeah, Wolf Riders as well. So we'll go down the line. Wolf Riders first. Pass. The Orcs pass. The big Goblins pass. And the Goblin Archers pass. So Animosity is just a test. You roll a d6 for each, and on a result of 1, you have to roll on the Animosity table to see in what way they fight each other. Orcs and Goblins and Skaven are the 2 sort of wackiest armies in Warhammer, because they both have a bit of a risk-reward thing. They're powerful, but they can very easily turn and damage themselves. No, they can't charge because they're 22 away, which would mean they'd need to roll a 13. So I will trundle these guys forward a little. Maybe 4, to keep in line with the thing. These guys, they're out of range. I think they're probably going to stay there. Ah, no, I suppose there's no real penalty for it. Yes. So now everyone in that unit can shoot. These are surging forward the full 4, and the orcs are going forward probably 3 and then rotating. Naffnat, I've realised that I slightly misruled the way I did the chariots and stuff in the previous battle. Because, like, individual characters can rotate freely. Individual characters are monsters. But chariots and stuff, I believe, still have to pivot and such normally. So I think if they have, like, rectangular bases, they have to use movement to turn. Whereas if they have square bases, they don't need to. That's my ruling. Let me know if you play differently. Goblin Wolf Riders are 11. Even with Swift Stride, that is unlikely. So I think I will move them forward a smidge. Mostly to allow the trolls to move up as well. And then Naffnat will go 1. And then forward another 4. And then 1 more. So that's still lower than the 9 he can. And this Skull Chucker's... Oh no, he's going to be able to shoot over. He's going to be able to shoot onto the screen. But first, let's do magic. Magic is 9 and 5. Channeling the 2 Shaman. Channeling Balfroth. Balfroth gets 1. Where are they located? We have Skarzog there. So that's Vindictive Glare and Spider God. And we have Glarzog in with the Orcs. I think I'll start off with something easy. Vindictive Glare from Skarzog against the Clan Rats unit on 2 dice. 8. 10 with his level. And I think I'll try and dispel that also on 2. 10. Oh, 5. That's 7. That's a failure. So dispel passes. So that is 10 strength 3 hits against the Clan Rats. That's going to hurt. That's wounding on 4s. 5 wounds. They have light armor and a shield, giving them a 5+ save, and they fail 4. That could have been worse for them. They've got a massive unit, so they don't need to worry about panic yet. And it triggers the lore attribute, Sneaky Stealin'. After a spell is successfully cast, on a 5+, take a dispel dice from your opponent's dispel pool and add it to your power pool. Yes, they get 1. So they use 2, they lose another 1, and they gain 1, so oof, that can be nasty. And Glarzog is going to cast Itchy Nuisance on the Plague Monks. Not that they would really notice, but he's going to do that on 3. And he gets Irresistible Force, oh no! So first we'll resolve it, that's D6, reduce its movement and initiative by that amount. 5! Yikes! That reduces both their movement and their initiative to 1 for an entire turn. But now we see what happens to, who is it, Glarzog? Yeah, Glarzog. 7. That is a detonation, so Glarzog himself is fine, but all adjacent ones get hurt. Which is why I remembered you're supposed to like put casters in the corners of units, so that way when stuff is centered on them, it's not right in the middle of your unit. So that is, it's only 3. Wounded on a 2+. Yeah, obviously they're all gonna take that hit. They don't have any protection against that, so 3 orcs explode. And then they lose D6 from the pool, 3. But they do get to roll for Sneaky Stealin'. Nope, they do not steal anymore. So they've got 2 dice, which is not going to be enough to cast Curse of the Bad Moon, which is a shame. I was looking forward to that. But I will instead cast Gift of the Spider God on the Goblin Archers, because they're about to shoot, and giving them poison attacks would be helpful. 2 dice left, and he needs an 8. Nope, failed it. Shooting phase, we have a couple of Spear Chuckers, and we have the Goblin Archers, but I believe that is it. So we'll go with this Spear Chucker first. And I'm probably going to keep trying to whittle away the Plague Monks, because Skaven Slaves aren't really much of a threat. Range of 48, definitely in range, and it is I believe it counts as a bolt thrower. However, they need a 5+ to hit, which they did not get. This Spear Chucker is going to go for the Skaven Slaves. They are also within range, so that's again on a 5. Nope. And then these goblins are going to have a very hard time. Oh, some of them... Damn, I forgot about the back row. Oh no, so none of the back row are going to be in range. Welp. messed that up a bit. All I had to do was move them a tiny bit further forward. And all of the goblins, including the champion, have the same ballistic skill, so they are all hitting on 5s. Although they moved, so they're hitting on 6s. Surprisingly, 2 hits. Wounding the Skaven slaves on 4s gets 1, and they have a shield, which they fail. They don't get a parry save in ranged attacks, so that is 1 dead. That's the end of turn 1. We go into turn 2 for the Skaven. Again, it's still a bit too long range to actually charge, so I'm just going to have to move stuff forward and let them come to me a bit. The Plague Monks can only move 1 inch, but I can march them to move a 2nd inch. Wow, such difference. Skaven Slaves, they are moving up specifically to body block a bit. That is what they are good at. The Glabardiers are going to move up, but again stay a little bit behind the Skaven Slaves so that they become the easy target. And these ones are moving up as well. And the Rogers, I feel, are going to be charged. So I will just move them up another 5 as well. So we're just moving forward, and we have a lot of overlapping circles here, so I apologise about that. If I could recolour them, I would, but I don't believe I can. But I should mention, Bilefroth is the general, which is what his circle's about. But this circle is because Cruiser is the battle standard bearer. But he gives the bonus in that any leadership rolls within 12 inches of him can be re-rolled if they fail. Magic. 7. Channeling 2 Shaman. Nope. Channeling 1 Bilefroth. Nope. Plague is about still the only one that's within range. So, because I believe the Pestilent Breath is a teardrop. Yeah, because it's a breath weapon. But he can definitely hit the orcs with the Plague. So I'm probably going to have to use 5 or 6 to get that through. I'm going to go with 5. I'm so hesitant to use 6. Oh no, screw it. I'm gonna take a chance. Bilefroth wants to prove himself, and he immediately gets irresistible force. Whelp. So each model in the targeted unit must pass a toughness test, which is why it is fantastic against hordes and like horde armies, because every model in the unit, and then it has a chance to move on. So every model in this unit has to pass a toughness test. Glazog passes on a 3 or less. That's a pass. Whereas the orcs passing on 4s. So the champion fails. And then 21, so 11. 7 fails. And 10. This is devastating. 11 fails total. That has blown about half the unit away. So they are going to have to take a panic test now, which I will come back to because the spell has not finished resolving yet. I roll a d6 and 4, so I believe that means the spell ends. Yeah, it does. 2 to 4, the spell ends. On a 1, the targeted player can choose a unit within 12 to affect with Plague, or on a 5 or 6, I believe I can choose one. So you can, like if you roll a series of 5 or 6s, you can devastate an entire battle line. It's such an amazing spell, but it does end there. So we will have the orcs making a leadership test, but they are within 12 of Naffnat. So they are testing on an 8, which they pass. And now, miscast, 7. Another 7, so that's another detonation. Like, 7, I believe, is the average roll, because 3.5 is the average result on a d6, so 2 of those is a 7. But anyway, that's 3 Plague Monks are hit by the detonation, which is on a 2+. 3 fails, no saves whatsoever, and frankly, that is the nicest result I could have got from that. Into shooting, I believe they're still out of range. Yep, it's only a range of 8. But the Poison Wind Mortar can shoot, and I think I'm going to try hitting the goblins again. Although part of me is thinking maybe I should go for the orcs. You know, see if I can just take out the orcs. But no, the massive goblin unit is more threatening. So actually I'm going to put it here, because he's noticed that there is an orc shaman there being troublesome. So let's roll scatter for that. Oh, yeah. For some reason, rolling scatter on this doesn't always work, because if you like roll the dice the wrong way, it's literally the same result on every side. It's a very bizarre thing that it does that. So instead I will roll them like that. Okay. So that is a direct hit. Yeah, it's the downside of this. It's why I use these rollers, because in case you're unfamiliar, these rollers are from the Conquest mod, which I don't even know if it's still on the workshop. But it's such a good thing, this roller, this dice roller, that I just nick it and put it in any kind of miniatures game or basically anything where I need to roll dice, because it's so helpful. But I don't have one for these. Does it work? Oh, it does! I don't think I can put 2 dice on there. No, it chooses 1. Alright, but that is what I'm going to be using to roll scatter from now on. But yes, this one was a hit, but in the future I'll be using this to roll scatter. A direct hit there has a normal goblin hit on a 4. Wounded on a 4, rather. Fail. Skarsog on a 5. Fail. And then, by my count, 14 other goblins also hit on 5s. 6 wounds. No armor allowed, so 6 goblins are gone. Well under the quarter it needs those, so no test required. No combat into Goblins Turn 2. And now time to get some charges. The Goblin Riders are going to go for... Yeah, they're going to go for the Globadiers. They're a much bigger threat than even a big block of Sagavan slaves. Also, note about the Wolf Riders. They are fast cavalry compared to normal cavalry, so I don't think they should get the impact hits. The idea is they're lighter and a lot nippier and therefore not able to do the big impact of the cavalry charge that I mentioned as homebrew rule last time. Also, I do want to apologise for getting, I realised afterwards I got the armour saves on the knights completely wrong. They should have been testing on like a 1+, because they're the 4+ for the armour, 1 for being mounted, 1 for barding, and 1 for shield, which reduces them to a 1+ save. Even with the high strength of the Crypt Horrors, they should have been testing on a 2+ and not a 3 or a 4, or whatever it was I was rolling. So, sadly, that is something I can't change, but I will try and remember that for the future. There are so many rules in Warhammer, and a lot of the rules are like compounded rules, like this gives you immunity to... this gives you immune psychology, and immune psychology means you don't need to use fear, and fear does this, and so on. You know, it's tiered rules, and it's one of my biggest complaints about Warhammer Fantasy, that it's so awkward to keep up with, which is why I have all of these little notes, you see, which, I mean, these are bad examples, but like a lot of these, I have notes explaining what all of their rules are and what they can actually do, and that's how I'm explaining it on the little pop-ups as well. But yeah, it can be complex, and it's hard to keep track of all this stuff. I believe the Globadiers can actually do a standard shoot, because technically they are carrying ranged weapons. So they're all going to stand and shoot. There's the champion and 4 normals. The champion hits on a 4 because he has a -1 for standing and shooting. Fail. And the other 4 hit on 5s. Oh, wow! 3 6s and a 5. That's incredible. And the poisoned wind globes, which they throw, which are effectively, by the way, just like glass orbs full of poison gas that they just chuck and break on the enemy. They always wound on a 4+. So that's 1 wound. No armor saves allowed. But then the charge completes because it wasn't close to the 25% to trigger a panic, and this is the unit with Lil Naffnat in. Over at this end, we're going to try the Goblin Chariots against the Roguers. I have no idea how good Goblin Chariots are. They need a 4 to make the charge, but they have Swift Stride, meaning you roll an extra dice and use the 2 lowest, which is literally all the same. But with their 9, that is literally the number they needed. Boom! Charge complete. The Orc Boys are suddenly a lot less confident about moving towards these Plague Monks, given that they are now half the size they were, like, 5 minutes ago. But they are still gonna move forward a bit. Not much, though. And I'm gonna have the Trolls move down, because they've got a much higher movement now that the way is clear. Move to there, and rotate. Oh, I probably could have charged there. An 8. If they could even fit. I think they could. Let's see. 8 across. Ooh, very tight fit, but they could theoretically charge past Yeah, I'm going to try it. A bit of a mistake for me to do some ordinary moves, but I almost always make that mistake, so I'm not going to punish myself too harshly. No, 4. They fail the charge. Units that start the turn within 6 inches can reroll failed charge. So these guys cannot, because they've only just moved into the sphere of influence of the Idol of Gork. Orc Lord is going to move forward a bit. He pivoted and then moved. He's making sure they stay within the range. And I believe that is it, because these guys don't want to move, and these guys are going to be shooting. Not that that can see a great deal. You can just about see the ones on the hill, I guess. Magic! 7. I didn't explain it in the previous one, but the Dispel dice are the higher of the 2 dice rolls. So they got a 2 and a 5, so the Dispel dice is the 5, and the Power dice is the total. But that Itchy Nuisance was really, really useful. It shut down this unit entirely for the turn, whereas otherwise they would probably... They could have charged, because Plague Monks have Frenzy, so they would almost certainly have tried to charge. So I think I'll go with that. I'll try another Itchy Nuisance on 2 dice. So they need 8. 5 plus the 2, that's 7. That's not enough. Which means that Glazog has actually broken his concentration. He didn't reach the minimum casting level it needed, so he cannot cast any other spells. Damn, I was saving a load of dice for Cursor to Bad Moon. I'm just doomed to never be able to cast any magic vortexes in these. I will go with Vindictive Glare on 2 against the Clamrats again. 8, 10, that's a pass. And then I'll roll 3 to try and dispel that. That is dispelled, which means Sneaky Stealing doesn't come into effect because that needs it to be successful. And then finally a Gift of the Spider God on the archers again. So he's only got 3 dice left. But that's a pretty good 17 total. Dispelling with the last 2 dice, not enough, so actually a spell does go through. Shooting. I think I'm going to try against the Plague Monks again. They are still outside of half range, which would be 24. So it's hitting on a 5. Miss. And this one against the Skaven Slaves, again hitting on a 5. Miss. I see now why you can buy so many of these. You can have like 6 in your army, and they're not very expensive, and it's because they are terrible. The whole unit of Goblin Archers are also shooting at the Skaven Slaves. They're all above half range. All hitting on 5s. 2. That's it. Wow, how many 1s and 2s did he roll? Wounding on 4s. 1. And pass the armor save. Oh, hang on. Ah, no. 1 was automatically a wound. Oh, well, it was a wound anyway. We have combat at the flanks. The rogue is against the chariots, and the wolf against the poisoned... That's misspelled. Oh, it's misspelled on the individual ones. Whatever. The poison-winged Glabardiers. I think it's a German mod, because all of the rules it has in the pop-ups are all, I'm fairly sure, in German. We'll do the Glabardiers one, and the Glabardiers actually strike first. They've got initiative of 4 compared to like 3s and 2s, which is surprising. I thought goblins were quicker than that. But Naffnat will challenge the champion of the Glabardiers. 1 attack hitting on 4. Nope. Lil Naffnat has 3 attacks hitting on 3s. All 3. Wounding on 3s. 2. And the Glabardier actually has heavy armor, which sort of surprises me. Reduced to a 6+ because of the high strength. No, miserably failed. But it's not quite over. The giant wolf gets an attack hitting on a 4 and misses. But that's still 2 wounds. And that's particularly upsetting because I bought a magic item for the champion. He had a Death Globe, which is like an instant kill thing that he can throw, and he didn't get a chance. I don't know if I could have thrown it on as a standard shoot. I guess theoretically I could, because it's like a 1-use magic range weapon, but I wasn't certain, so I chose not to. Funnily enough, the wolves have a higher weapon skill than the Goblin Riders, so the Glabardiers hit on 3s and failed even that. 10 Wolf Rider attacks on 4s. Yeah, that's bad. Wounding on 4s. 5. Saving on 5s. Ooh, 3 dead. And the wolves, I did this in the wrong order. The wolves should have attacked first. 3 hits. Ah, no wounds. So 1 is left. Who loses the combat by 7 because of the rank, 8 because of the banner. Oh no. Testing on a double 1 and failed, obviously. Skaven have scurry away, which means they flee an extra inch. So he flees 6, and he's pursued, because of Swiss Stride, 6. They are wiped out, which is not really a surprise. I'm putting these in the wrong place. The Skaven slaves right next to them need to test, but they are the only ones who are going to be affected by panic. Skaven slaves have an incredible leadership of 2, however they are close enough so that they can use Bile Froth's 6, which is still not incredible, but Skaven have strength in numbers, which means they add their rank bonus to leadership for tests. I cannot find definitive because rank bonus isn't a thing in 8th edition, but it seems sort of every use of rank bonus, the equivalent of in 8th, caps at 3, which I'm not sure I agree with should be the case for this, and I'm not sure if it was intended in 7th edition when the Skaven stuff released, but I will assume it is, which means they are still on a 9, because it's 6 plus the 3, testing on 9, which they pass. So, miraculously, the Skaven slaves are not running away, despite having a base leadership of 2. And the Roguers, this is actually a mixed unit. Muta Slack is part of this unit, but he can only attack if he's in the 2nd rank, which he is not, because I've got that many Roguers, but it means they do use his leadership and stuff. Ah, Rat Ogre's a Frenzy. I missed that. They maybe should have charged then in the previous round, I'm not sure. But impact hits first. So these have d6 plus 1 impact hits because they get d6 for being a chariot, and they have scythes. You can see there are little spikes on the wheels, which increase it by 1. So there are 2 of them hitting, so 2d6 plus 2. 8, 10 impact hits. That's strength 5 because of the chariot. So they're wounding on 3s. 5 wounds. Yeah, it's just 5 wounds. They don't have any kind of armor or anything. So that is 1 and a bit. Which means Muta is now able to attack, because he's now in the 2nd row. Rat Ogres inflict fear, but they are outside of the range of Naffnat, so they're testing on their own 6, which they pass. And again, Skaven show their strength with even Rat Ogres being faster than Goblins and Wolves, because they have initiative 4 and 5, so Muta actually goes first. Because of the way the mixed unit works, Muta can only make a single attack using his whip, but allows him to do it from behind the Roguers where he cannot be hit in return. Hitting on a 3, hit. Wounding on a 4, wounded. The chariot by default gives a 5 plus armor, but reduced to 6 plus because of the strength, and it is a fail. But the chariots have 3 wounds each. In total, the Roguers have 16 attacks because they're monstrous infantry. The ones at the back can use up to 3 attacks. This may have been a mistake charging them. 16 hitting on 3s. 7 wounding on 3s. 4 strength 5, so they get no armor save. That is 1 chariot gone and another reduced to a single wound. Oh, I've just realised that the goblin chariot's actually a bows, so they could have been firing. Oh well. They have 3 goblins in the crew, but the 2 wolves hit first on 4s, 1 hit, wounding on a 5, no wound. 3 goblins hitting on 4s, 1, wounding on a 5, wound. Oh, hang on, I forgot to add the extra attacks from Frenzy. Okay, I'll do that now because they did happen first, and if they kill it, then they won't lose this extra Roger. So that's 3 extra attacks on 3s, 1, wounding on a 3, no. Okay, fair enough. So that wound is inflicted and they lose another Roger. They don't get to stomp against a chariot, so that is actually a goblin victory, astoundingly, despite being reduced to 1 wound. They have a leadership of 6 from Muta. They're not within range of the general, but they do get a reroll because of the battle standard. On 6. Pass. They stay. And we go into Skaven turn 3. Let's do some charging. They are... Oh, come on. Focus on the model, would you? That one. 12. So they need 7 on 2 dice for the Plague Monks to charge, and they get it. So they go up to there. 8 inches, they need 3 on 2, which they get. So they charge up. Skaven Slaves. They are also going to charge the same unit, but they are within their minimum, so they don't need to roll. They're going to have to charge there because there isn't quite room for them any further over. Oh no, there is. They can just slip in there. Oh, actually, where were they? Because they charged off a scree slope. So they were about there, weren't they? Which would be the entire back base, which is a total of 19. So 10, 1 fail, 1 fail. Okay, that is not bad for 19 tests. I think I'm way too afraid of dangerous terrain. Like, I think I mean, you wouldn't know it from the last match, but I really tend to go out of my way to avoid risk of dangerous terrain tests, but it's such a low chance that unless you get very unlucky, it's not going to affect you, and a horde like this is not going to make much impact. These Skaven slaves, I think, are going to reform, and I actually think I'm going to do something a little bit unusual. I think I'm going to reform them into a horde, facing that way, because they have like as many reforms as they want, but I don't know if they can charge, actually. Yes, they can. It's still just within the front. So I think this is the best chance at pinning down these wolf riders who could otherwise sort of go round behind and start causing havoc around here. And that is now most of the Skaven line in combat. So magic. 7. 2 shaman. Nope. 1 plague priest. Nope. I don't know if it's worth trying a plague at this point. Like, there are so many units here. There are actually more of my units than... almost more of my units than there are of theirs. I think I will start with a Pestilent Breath, which, if it works, is a breath weapon in close combat. And I will go with, I think, 2 dice. So I need a 5. Yeah, I could have upcast it to an 8, but on 2 dice it would have been risky. So that's a pass. Total of 7. But he's worried about the plague, because if the plague hits again, it already decimated 1 unit. If he hits, like, the goblins, it could be really, really bad. Although, actually, it might count as a hex, so he might not be able to cast it. Direct damage. No, it's a direct damage. Ah, right. Normally, a direct damage you can't cast into combat, but plague specifically says you can, although it would have affected all of them, so it wouldn't be a good idea to cast on the goblins. But yeah, he's still not going to dispel the Pestilent Breath just on the off chance that a plague is coming, because that could be really, really, really bad. So instead it inflicts 2d6 automatic hits, which is 3. Wow, that's not much. That's strength 2 with no armor saves. That's just a 6+. I got 1 kill, so that's good. If I'd upcasted, it would have been strength 3. It would have been a 5 to wound, but I didn't want to risk it on 2 dice. Oh, and that does actually trigger a Plague Rash. So all enemy units within 6 inches have -1 to movement and initiative, which is the Orcs, Naffnat, the Goblins. Yeah. That's probably not going to make much difference because almost all of them are slower than my guys anyway, but... So I'm doing that my guys because I'm playing... It's the Skaven turn, so I'm the Skaven, you know? That's just how I think about these things. And yeah, I've kind of got to cast Plague, haven't I? I don't think it's worth it, you know. I think because we're all in combat, anywhere I cast it is gonna hurt my guys. Because even if I like targeted Naffnat with it, which debatable whether I'd have line of sight. No, I'm not going to do it. Baited you into not using your dispel dice. Me. Got ya. Shooting. Just the Poison Wind Mortar, who can fire. He can't fire into this combat, but he can use his unit's line of sight. Do any of them have line of sight past? They do. These ones have line of sight to Naffnat, so he can actually use his parent unit's line of sight. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. We have line of sight here on Naffnat, so I'm gonna mortar Naffnat right there because we have a direct line of sight to that from the parent unit. So now I get to use these. Boom, boom. The dice probably need to be smaller. Oh no. Well, indirect, so that's scattering that way. Oh yeah, no, that's the downside of using this. It doesn't persist. Damn. Yeah, because I can't like rotate these to emulate it or anything. Alright, it was a nice idea, but I don't think this is going to work as a thing just because you need to refer to it more than once. So I think it was like that direction, 10 inches. or double 10 inches, because again, I can't refer to it. Unlike these ones, it's like I rolled a 5 and a 5. Doesn't work with these, so no. Damn, that is a shame that those don't work. But yes, I think it was, I rolled a 10 and that way, so it actually scatters 20 inches in this direction, which is way, way far enough that it doesn't hit anything. Combat, we have a lot of combats. We've got the goblins and the roguers, we've got the goblins and the everything, and we have the orcs and the plague monks. So I like to have the general go last, unless I can take out their general, which I can't. So I think we'll start with the roguers, the furthest away from everything. Oh, I should have reformed from defeat to try and get more roguers in combat, so I will do that now on a 6. Success. So I'll just shift them over a little bit, just so that everybody is now in contact with them. First off, Neuter is hitting with his whip and misses. 13 roguer attacks on 3s. 12 hits. Sorry, this might be gilding the lily, but I forgot Frenzy. Oh no, they don't have Frenzy. They've lost Frenzy now for the game because they lost the fight. So, no lily gilding required, but I do need to roll for fear on a 6. Which they fail, so they're actually on even less. It doesn't really matter, it makes no difference except when they hit back, which they're not going to because they've been hit by, what was it? 12. Wounding on 3s, and if any of these hit, yeah, lots of them have hits. So that is the chariot wiped out entirely. Any within 6 inches? No, I remembered this time and there aren't any. And they would be able to reform, but they just point that way, so that's just sorted. That's the one with my generals, so instead I will do this one, and we are going to be challenging. Cruiser is challenging, because that is what he does. He likes to challenge things. So that will be accepted by the Goblin Champion. Cruiser has a couple of magic items. He has the Standard of Discipline, which gives his unit +1 leadership, but they can't use Bile Froths. And a Warpstone Armor, which is a 4+ armor save, and inflicts strikes back if he succeeds any armor saves. But before we do anything, this is the unit that is concealing nasty skulkers. So they are these little goblins I've had sat over here, and they're sort of one of the only things that make goblins dangerous in any way. And what these do, and I may have forgotten to resize the bases, I have. What happens with these is, in the first round of combat that their unit is in, the nasty skulkers are revealed and placed in the front row. They have always strikes first, they give a -1 to armor saves, and they have killing blow this turn, which can be really dangerous. However, they don't count as characters, so they can't, accept the challenge from Cruiser. But I placed them anywhere in the front, and I've gone with 2 over here and 1 over here. So something to note with this is that with mixed units in Warhammer, you choose who you attack. So, this guy can choose to attack the Goblin or the Skulker. But yes, back to the Goblin. So they actually have -1 initiative, but not that really matters because that reduces it from a 2 to a 1. Cruiser's 3 attacks hitting on 3s. Only 1, wow. Wounding on a 3, that's a wound. They have a 5+ save reduced to a 6 because of high strength. Fail. And no parry save because they're carrying spears, so that is the champion dead. Next is the Skulkers. They have always strikes first, so they will attack immediately. So 1 against Skaven Slaves. Hitting on 4s, fail. This one's going to try and take out the champion. Hitting on 4s, 1 hit. Wounding on a 4, and a natural roll of 6. Yeah, A is killing blow, which that is not, but it's still a wound. They have a 5+ reduced to a 6+ because of armor piercing. Fail. And he does get a parry save because he's got... Oh, wow, he parries it. He parries a killing blow from the Skulker because they have hand weapons and shields, which allows them to get a 6+ ward save. And then the last Skulker will go for an ordinary Clanrat. Both miss. And now the rest of the units. So the Skaven Slaves have spears, so they attack with an extra rank. 6 hitting on 4s. 3 wounding on 4s. I should have gone for the Skulker and I didn't. 3 wounds. 5+ armor. 1 success, 2 fails. The Clanrats only have 2 ranks, but these 2 are going for Skarzog. Hitting on 3s. Nope. These ones are going for Skulkers. 5 hitting on 3s. 2. Wounding on 4s. 1. It's possible the Skulkers were supposed to have an extra attack because it says they're armed with 2 hand weapons, but I'm not sure if that's included in the 2 attacks they have already. I'm not entirely sure, so I'm going to assume it is. But he has a 6+ armor, which he passes. And then 3 clan rats against ordinary goblins. 1 hit. Wounding on a 4. No wound. Wow, that was a very anticlimactic fight. The only kills were the slaves and cruiser. Now the goblins have spears, so all of these 3 are going for the slaves. 8 hitting on 4s. 4. Wounding on 4s. 2. 6+ armor. Fail. No parry, sorry. I rolled the parry, but they don't get it. So 2 slaves gone. Skarzog hitting on a 4. Hit. Wounding on a 4. Wound. Wow. 5+ armor. Fail. 6+ parry. Fail. Skarzog got a kill. And then 18 goblins striking the clan rats. 2 hits. 7 hits. Wounding on a 4. 3 wounds. Saving on a 5 with armor. Nope. Saving on a 6 with parry. No, 3 more. That's all the wounds. They both have banners, and they get +2 for their ranks. They get +3 for their ranks. The goblins win. However, both units of Skaven are steadfast because they have more ranks, meaning they just test on the unmodified leadership. They're both within range of Bilefroth, so they're both testing on 9. Clanrats. Oh no, the Clanrats can't use Bilefroth. Instead, they're testing on Cruiser, which actually brings them up to a 10, because it's 6 by default, +1 for the standard of discipline, 3 for strength in numbers. So they actually pass, even though they rolled an 8. And the slaves are on a 9. Oh wow, double 1. The slaves are just like, yeah, no, we have got this. And then the plague monks against the orcs. Bilefroth isn't particularly well equipped, so instead the plague monk champion is going to challenge, which is going to be accepted by... Oh, the orcs champion died already. So it's either going to be accepted by... No, Glazog is going to decline the challenge, which is going to put him in the back row, which he can be put into. And this is about the only way to get the caster out of harm's way, is to not have a champion and then decline a challenge. But they're really wishing they were still slower, because plague monks are faster than orcs, even though they're some of the slowest Skaven. Bilefroth first, hitting on 3s. 2. Oh no, he gets an extra attack because he has frenzy, so 3. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound. Did I forget? I did. I forgot to roll animosity for the last orcs and goblins turn. Whoops, that was silly of me. And the orcs get a 6+ armor, light shield, but reduced for strength, and fail. You know, I think the Skulkers were supposed to have had extra attacks, because looking at the plague monks, it says like 2 hand weapons extra attack, but it just didn't say that on the profile I was looking at for the Skulker, so no, they should have had extra attacks. I'll do that now. Against the slaves, miss. Against the champion, the clanrat champion, miss. And against the ordinary clanrats, miss. Okay, never mind, I tried. Can't say fairer than that. So plague monks, they normally have 1 attack. They have 2 hand weapons, bringing it up to 2 attacks, and then they have frenzy, which brings it up to a total of 3 attacks each. 18 attacks on 4s to hit against the orcs. 5, 10. 5s to wound, because orcs are a bit tough. 6 wounds though. 5+ armor, 4 fails. 6+ parry. Nope, 4 wounds, which is forcing Glazog back into the front row. Right in front of Bilefroth, just by chance. But even though he is now back at the front row, he's still unable to attack because he refused the challenge. And orcs, something that makes them better than goblins, is that they have choppers, which gives them +1 strength in the first round of combat. Regardless of like whatever weapons or charging or anything, they just get +1 strength. However, there are only 4 of them, and they're hitting on 4s. 3. And because of their +1 strength, they are wounding on 4s. Wow, 3 wounds. No armor at all, so that's, 3 kills. They both have banners. However, they are considerably outnumbered, so they lose the fight by 6. They're quite near Naffnat, but they are still testing on a double 1, which they fail. So they are going to break from combat, and first of all, any within 5, yes. We have Naffnat himself, who is going to have to take a panic test. But the orcs are fleeing 7 inches, and they are pursued 9. Although, I think that won't come into it because they're going to hit the Naffnat before they catch up with the things which are fleeing 7. They would be there, which is on Naffnat, so they have to go beyond to there. And it's just currently a bit blocked up with stuff. So he has to take a panic test, both because he was within 6 inches and he was just fled through. But I am unsure whether you do the panic before you do the overrun. Because if you do the panic first, he may flee out of range. If you do the overrun first, he's going to get caught. Sorry, I mean pursuit. It says, if a unit breaks in combat, all friendly units must immediately test, measure before flee moves. So I am going to take that to be that he takes his panic test before they actually flee. So I will do that now. That's on 8, and he passes. So all of that umming and ahhing was moot. So they flee, and then the pursuit moves up and brings them into combat with him. Is that mostly the front or mostly the rear? They were like there. That's mostly the flank. So I think they charge him in the flank because it counts as a charge. So yeah, that brings them to there. And although the base is over the lava, none of the models are. So, but because Naffnat wasn't already in combat, we don't fight it this round. I love when games do this, when you've got like sort of an intersecting fingers type thing, because we've got like the slaves there, we've got the riders there, the plague monks there, and so on. But it does seem the Skaven are getting the upper hand in this as we go into Goblin Turn 3. So first, Animosity. I've remembered this time, but it's the riders and the archers. Riders first. They fail. So they have a 5. They must declare a charge against the closest enemy. If they're unable, then they may not move, cast spells, or shoot. Are they able to charge? They are able to charge because there is a unit within the front. So they will just immediately charge. They do it right now. Oh no, they don't. They do it in the charge phase. I mean, we're about to do that, so I'm just going to do it now so I don't forget. Like so. They don't test because they're fleeing. They don't test because they're in combat. So the archers pass. Also, I forgot that the trolls are stupid and have to pass a leadership test to find out if they do anything. Whoops. That is actually a fail. So they stumble d6. They just move 6 inches forwards. Whoops. That's another one that I probably should have paid attention to. And no more movement, except finding out whether these flee or not. They're within the general's radius, so on an 8. They recover! And we'll reform to there. Magic! Ooh, 10. 2 channeling, 1 success. And Bilefroth channeling for the other side. 1 success. Very magical turn, this one. Sadly, there's no way Glazog's going to be able to do his Vortex because there's no way he can cast it without hitting his friends. Skarzog is going to cast Gift of the Spider God on his own unit because they are badly in combat and he needs the help. But the issue he has here is that they're not planning on casting many spells because they're going to do like Itchy Nuisance and Gift of the Spider God, and that's all they can do. And they're going to have a hard time getting both through unless they put a lot of dice into at least one of them. In that case, he's going to go for Gift of the Spider God on 4. So he needs an 8. Ooh, 17 total. That is going to be hard to dispel. I think I'm just going to let that go through. I think it's more important to stop the Itchy Nuisance on the Plague Monks, which is most likely what he would do. You know, that's not me metagaming. That's, you know, who would he cast that on? And the people attacking his general seem the prime target. But if I can kill off the general, then that'll be devastating. So, yeah, a few poisoned attacks here against Clamrats and Skaven Slaves, not a problem. Which leaves him in the tricky situation. Does he try and cast it, knowing that he's going to need to put in 6 dice to do it? Is it worth that much to reduce their initiative? It's sort of his only chance. If they they're going to be able to attack first, and if they attack first, he's going to be dead, because there are a lot of them, and they hit a lot. Yeah, he's going to have to try. He's going to have to try it on 6 and hope that he doesn't explode. Alright, and he doesn't explode. Wonderful. So that's a total of 20. And of course, the Skaven are using all of their Dispel dice to try and stop it. And they fail. 17. So yeah, Itchy Nuisance goes through. So how much is it reduced by? It's reduced by D6? By 4. Yeah, that reduces their initiative down to like 1. That is probably not going to have saved him. There are too many of them, but it makes a difference. Shooting. This thing's going... Oh no, that's in combat. This thing cannot shoot anything, because all the targets are in combat. This one, however, can go for the Roguers at long range. Hitting on a 5. Miss. And the Goblins are going to shoot at the Roguers as well, just because they're the only target, but they're all at long range as well. Hitting on 5s. 3. 6. Wounding on 5s. Oh, 4 wounds. No saves allowed. Or, well, they have no saves. So that is another Rogue dead. That is not bad shooting. And is, very nearly the 25%. Because it's on the number of models, not on the number of wounds. Muta does count towards the total. A lot of combat to do. They'll be doing this one last because their goblins get to choose the order. So we'll start up here with the goblins versus slaves. And little Naffnat is going to challenge. And frankly, there is no reason to refuse it, because it just gets Naffnat out of the general combat. And the poor leader does actually strike first, which is kind of funny. 2 attacks hitting on 4s. Nope. Little Naffnat hitting on 3s. 2. Wounding on 3s. 1. No save, so the poor leader's dead, but Brenda the Wolf does also attack. Hitting on a 3. Yes. Wounding on a 4. No. So just 1 wound overall. It contributes to the combat res, you see. And the reason I reformed into a Horde is because now they get to use their 4th rank, because they've got Support, Spear, and Horde. Which is a total of 15 hitting on 4s. Which is, oh nice, 8. Wounding on 4s. 4. Part of the reason I made the mistake I did with the armor saves last time was because the sheet I'm using doesn't list cavalry as benefiting the armor save, so I'm not going to make that mistake again. It would be a 6 because of light armor, shield and mounted improve it to a 4, so 4 on 4s. 2 wounds still. And they do get parry saves on 6s, one of which is saved. Impressive. So only 1 goblin dies. Which is still a significant portion of the unit, but, nowhere near as bad as that could have been. 3 wolves hitting on 3s. 2. Wounding on 4s. 2. Saving on 6s. None. 8 riders hitting on 4s. Oh, 6. Wounding on 4s. 2. Saving on 6s. None. The wolves have a banner and 1 rank. They have 2 ranks, so the Skaven slaves lose by 5. They still have 5 in their back rows, so that counts as 3 for their bonus, which would put them up to a 5. Reduced because of this. They are steadfast, as they do have more ranks than the enemy, so they are testing on their unmodified leadership, which, because of the 5 in the back row, puts them up to a 5. So they're still testing on a 5, which is low, but it could have been... Oh, they just pass. Yeah, they stay in the fight. I forgot to reform in defeat again. I should have, shuffled them over a bit, so I'll do that now. They are within Bilefroth? They certainly were before, so I'll test that on 9, I believe. Because it's 6 plus the 3. So yes, that is just a pass. Allowing them to shuffle over and contribute a little bit more. I need to remember to do that at the end of combat instead of at the start of the next one. Cruiser is again challenging, and this time it's going to be Skarzog who is declining because he is the last one left. Cruiser hitting on 3s. 1. Wounding on a 3. Fail. Oof. Oh, sorry, actually it's the Skulkers first, because they have always strikes first. So that one's going for the champion, hitting on 4s. 3 hits. Wounding on 4s. 1. no armor save because of armor piercing. So the Skaven Slaves champion is dead. This Skulker's going for this champion. Hitting on 4s. 1. Wounding on a 4. 1. But he does get a 6+, which he saves. Last Skulker going for ordinary Clanrats. Hitting on 4s. 1. Wounding on a 4. None. Then it would be Cruiser, and now it's the Slaves. I'm going to do this column by column, because I want to kill the Skulker, but there's no point like overkilling the Skulker, so these 3 on the Skulker. Hitting on 4s. Nope. Next 3 on the Skulker. 2 hits. Wounding on 4s. 1. 6+ armor. Failed, so the Skulker is dead. And then the other 6 on ordinary goblins. 3 hits. 2 wounds. 5+ armor. 1 save. 1 dead. These 5 attacks against the Skulkers. 3 hits. 1 wound. Failed armor, so 1 Skulker's dead. And then 5 more Clanrats against goblins. Hitting on 3s. 2. No wounds. Quite a pitiful combat from the Skaven side, really. I mean, they killed 2 of the Skulkers, but that's about it. 11 goblins against slaves. Hitting on 4s. 6. Wounding on 4s. Oh, actually. Oh, well, yeah, none of those were poisoned. I forgot they were poisoned. 2 wounds. Damn, that means some of the Skulker attacks may have been poisoned, and I forgot. 6+ armor. Failed. 14 against Clanrats. 5 successes, one of which was poisoned. 4 wounding on 4s. 1. 2 saving on 5s. 1 parry. Wow, all saved. And 3 goblins are attacking Cruiser because there is literally no one else they can. Hitting on 5s. 1. Wounding on a 5. Ooh, 1. He is saving on a 3, and if he succeeds, then it'll get hit back. But he failed! A goblin actually managed to wound Cruiser. They have a banner each. 2 for rank, 3 for rank, meaning it is a draw. Any musicians? 1 musician and a musician. So yep, just a draw. It's just a flat draw. And the final fight of the turn is the Plague Monks against Naffnat. Naffnat is going to challenge, because that's his only chance of stopping being attacked by bloody 30 Plague Monks. And yeah, they're going to refuse the challenge. So he's going to put Bilefroth at the back. Like, he chooses to put Bilefroth. Otherwise, Bilefroth is more dangerous than the Plague Monk champion. However, they are reduced to initiative 1, meaning Naffnat goes first. But because it is to the flank, his wolves cannot actually contribute. It is only Naffnat and any crew. I just double checked, and he replaces one of the crew, meaning there are 2 other goblins in the chariot with him. Who have bows. He could have been shooting this whole time. Again, didn't even occur to me. Naffnat has 4 attacks against the Plague Monks. 4 hits. Wounding on 4s. 1. But they have no armor. 2 crew hitting on 4s. 1. Wounding on a 5. Yep, wound. But that is all they have. And now it is time for the Plague Monks to try and destroy Naffnat and Brenda the Chariot. Not to be confused with Brenda the Wolf. I count 17 attacks. Technically, the Chariot and Naffnat are 2 separate things for targeting, so I'm going to do this in lumps again. 4 against Naffnat? No. Another 4? 1. Wounding on a 5? No. I'm beginning to think I should have used the Plague Banner this turn. I didn't think he'd be this tough. I'm just going to use the other 9 on him. Why play it safe? 3. 2 wounds. However, he has a 4+ armor, 5 for the Chariot and 1 additional for his armor, which he saves both. I should have used the Plague thing. I didn't think he'd be this tough. I'm sort of impressed, actually. That said, we do get 1 for the banner and 3 for the rank, so even though we haven't hurt him, he loses the combat by 4. So he's testing on 4 and fails! He hasn't been hurt and he's broken. So he flees with Swift Stride, a total of 7 inches, and is pursued. 7 inches, he's dead. He turns the cart around and he just gets run down as he flees. But I guess the question is whether he gets caught before it hits the goblins. Because he flees directly away 7 inches. God, it's very messy here. Is that on? I'd be willing to say they just moved over an inch. Like a smidge like that. So I would say that actually he does escape. because they would catch that before they catch him. I'd say that's mostly in the rear. So yeah, they get caught in the rear. But break from combat, so they're going to have to test. But it's quite lucky this combat's already happened, because otherwise this would... Oh, I can't fit them at the back. Well, I think they test for panic immediately. I'm just going to do that now. On the Shaman 6, 7. They flee again. A total of 8 inches up to there, which conveniently gives space for the Plague Monks to charge their rear. So it's a bit of a mess with all of these debuff things. That has left quite a gaping hole in this now as we go into Skaven turn 4. I think the Roguers are going to try and charge Naffnat, because they only need a 6 to do it. And that'll cause him to flee back that way, straight through the unit, and cause him a load of damage. So a 6. Yeah, they get it. So he's going to... He has to make a flee reaction, so he then flees. Oh wow, 3. They might actually catch him, because they got a 9. So they move up to there. I guess it depends on how you do this stuff, what order you do it in, because if he gets to do his flee movement first, he like goes directly away from where they were. 3 will put him into here, so he automatically sort of goes to the far side of it. So he technically does move further than they can catch, but I believe fleeing through counts as dangerous terrain. So he passes the dangerous terrain. Yeah, it sort of sucks that a chariot just going through a unit is perfectly fine. Whereas, like, if he'd failed, he would have taken d6, but it doesn't make him more likely to fail, which is sort of a shame. But yes, that leaves the Roguers there. I could have redirected the charge, but then I would have had the charge reaction, which I didn't want. Magic! 9. One of their channelers is fleeing, so they only channel 1. Nope. And Balfroth? Nope. I think he's just going to do a Pestilent Breath, because he can only do Plague in the forward arc, so he can't, like, target the trolls, sadly. So yeah, he's just going to Pestilent Breath the goblins. However, he will be upcasting it, so it's on an 8. 17 total, and they are going to try and dispel it with all 5 of their dice. 18 total, they dispel it. Alright, that was an uneventful magic phase. Shooting. The Poison Wind Mortar is going to try and shoot him. Oh, is it worth trying to blind fire that? That seems risky. Is he within range of those? He is not. Oh, they do have line of sight on the trolls, so I think he can pivot to shoot. Yeah, okay, he's going to shoot the trolls using the parent unit's line of sight, because... Oh, actually, they do have line of sight through the rocks. Fancy that. Target right there. Roll them. Oh, a misfire. A lot of Skaven things have their own misfire charts, so the Poison Wind misfire. A 2 is place the large round template on the weapon team, and models touched are wounded on a 4 with no armor. It is then destroyed. So, welp, that is actually not much, because they're right at the back. So, centered on the weapon team, that is 2 Skaven slaves and, yeah, and a Clamrat. Clamrat, dead. Slaves, dead. Oh well, that's a shame. Combat! Let's mince up this unit, shall we? Cruiser will challenge, which Skarzog shall decline, putting him in the one corner of the thing where he is unable to be attacked. Skulker goes first against the Clamrat champion, hitting on 4s, 2, wounding on 4s, 1, saving on a 6, and saving on a 6. No. So he finally kills the champion that he's been trying to kill for absolutely ages. 12 slaves against goblins, 4, 2 wounds, no saves. I'm sort of impressed with how much damage the Skaven slaves have been dealing in this. Cruiser hitting on 3s, 2, wounding on 3s, 2, saving on 6s. None. Gonna try and kill that Skulker again, the last Skulker, so 1, none. So the next row, none. Come on. 5 against goblins, 3, and 1, and dead. 8 goblins against slaves, 4, And 3. Saving on 6s. 1. So 2 dead. 8 goblins against clan rats. Oh, they still have poison, don't they? Whoops. Yeah, they do. Whoops. 5 to wounds. 3. 1 save, so 2 clan rats gone. And then 6 goblins against the plague monks. God, they look absolutely tiny compared to... Oh, that's because I had to shrink them. Yeah, the models are normally bigger than that. Hitting on 4s. 2. Wounding on 5s, though. None. Bile Froth against goblins. 4. Wounded on 3s. 4. 6 plus armor. Ooh, 4 dead. And then 18 plague monk attacks hitting on 3s. 5. 12. Wounding on 4s. 8. Saving on 5s. And that's 7 more dead. I will admit, I'm amazed it's taken this much to defeat a unit of goblins. Like, they've just been slightly winning, and that's enabled them to hold on even when they just got whittled away to nothing. Banner on each side, but they get 3 and they get none, so they lose the combat by 17. Testing on double 1. Oh, wow, they would have failed even if they were at full strength. The rules say they flee from the most numerous enemies, so they're going to be fleeing directly that way. A total of 7, and they are pursued 7 and 5 from these two, 7 and 5. But I don't think either of them can actually catch, because these are going to hit the plague monks and they're going to hit the roguers. So I think they do actually escape. Sorry, I'm just going to have to disentangle my plague monks. 7 from here would put them there, which is actually just beyond them, just by virtue of the shape of the unit. So I think rules as intended would put them there instead. With 8 fleeing through, so 8 take dangerous terrain. 1 fail. Oh no, 2 fails. Oh, they can't stop there because that's still in the way, so they'd have to go to there. Just by virtue of this sort of cluster of units, they managed to escape. Move up to there, but they can't pursue through the plague monks. And these move up to there, but they can't pursue through the roguers. So they managed to escape just because I clamped them so much. That's crazy. They are definitely within the 6 inches though, so the goblin archers are going to have to test on 6. 5. They remarkably hold their nerve. And then down here we have little Naffnat against the slaves, who are, again, just remarkably holding on. No one left to challenge, so it's just Naffnat and his things. But they would have, because I think, fairly sure they won, so they would have shifted over so that they were all in contact. But I'm going to have 11 slaves attacking little Naffnat. If we can kill him off, that would be hilarious. Hitting on 4s, 5. Wounding on 5s, 1. And this is where I found out I neglected to buy Lil Naffnat any armor, because I assumed he came with it. He still has a 5+ save for the shield and his mount, but okay, he takes a wound. Does Lil Naffnat? And then 12 more against the unit. Hitting on 4s, 6. Wounding on 4s, 4. However, they have 4+ armor saves, because they decided to wear armor to this battle. 1 still failed. Naffnat strikes back, all 3, and 2 wound. 5 wolves get 4 hits, 2 wounds, 1 was saved. And 10 rider attacks, 5 hit, 2 wound, again 1 was saved. 1 for the banner, 1 for the rank, 2 for the rank, and they lose by 3, and this time they are not steadfast. So they need a double 1 to pass. Oh, I thought maybe they were going to get it, but no, they don't. The way Skaven slaves deal with panic is they scatter. They deal D3 plus the rank, strength 3 hits to all units within D6 inches. There are... Actually, those might be. Oh yeah, if they roll a 6, then they'll also hit those. Not quite. Alright, just the wolves then. So they deal D3 plus 2 hits, which is a total of 5. So wounding on 4s. Ooh, 3 wounds. Saving on 4s. 1 save, 2 fails. So 2 wolves die as the Skaven slaves scatter, and then this entire unit is just gone. but they're also incredibly cheap. The entire unit of 40 slaves was like 120 odd points, which is nothing. I mean, I think zombies were a little bit cheaper, but zombies and Skaven slaves are both like some of the cheapest things in the game. And from victory, they can reform, so they're going to phase that way. God, the trolls and the wolf riders have just sort of basically sat by while the rest of their army gets wiped out. And I don't know if that was misplaying. I mean, the trolls were stupid. They could have contributed more if they were less stupid. But the wolves, I don't know. They took out the Globardiers. Globadiers? Globardiers. Yeah, it's Grenadier, isn't it? Grenadier? I don't know. Oh yeah, the Plague Monks here, they are going to try... Oh, they can't refrain because they're... Yeah, that's alright. They can't refrain because they've got frenzy, so they can't refrain from pursuing, but they would have pursued that way. Or would they? Actually, I don't think they would. I think they would have pursued after them. I don't know. Can you pursue backwards? I think you can. Quick Google says that they do pursue even to their own rear. So I think I roll for it, and it was a 7. I think they are caught. I think that's my interpretation. Sorry I've done this a bit out of sequence. There are certain parts of Warhammer that aren't really explained very well, so I think that's what would happen, that he would pursue that way and catch them because they were close enough to get caught. In which case, they're wiped out, and Skarzog gets cut apart by absolutely insane plague monks. Whereas Glazog is, he doesn't care right now. He is quite busy running for his life. And these don't need to test for panic again because they already have this phase, I believe. Goblin Turn 4. First of all, Animosity. Wolf Riders. Pass. Goblin Archers. Pass. Everybody else is fleeing or doesn't suffer from Animosity. Stone Trolls. 7. They fail. So they are stupid and walk forwards 5 more inches, refusing to contribute in any way to the fight that is getting progressively worse around them. The Wolf Riders are going to go 3 and then 6 this way. And I'm hoping they can march. Yet they're further than 8 inches away, so they can. So they're going to go another 7 inches to there, and then rotate, because they are hopefully going to charge into some rears and actually get some work done. The goblins, they're just going to stand there and they're just going to try and shoot the rat ogres as much as goblinoidly possible. And these are going to have to do some tests. So first of all, rally the general first on 8. Pass. So he is no longer fleeing and will turn that way. And Glazog's unit can now use the 8 from the general and pass. Okay, this is the second win the goblins needed. Magic, because Glazog can still cast. Oh yeah, Skarzog is gone. So magic. 6. Plague Priest channeling. Glazog channeling. No. I really, 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 really want to cast Curse of the Bad Moon, and there is the perfect positioning for this. So I'm going for an upcast Curse of the Bad Moon, cast by Glazog. Glazog has gone absolutely nuts, but he's going to try and cast Curse of the Bad Moon. He needs 25, and he's going to use all 6 dice that he can. 24! 24! That is unfortunate. He fails. I guess I will not get to see a Vortex today. And Bilefroth is there just like... and this one's like... Well, actually, he's probably swearing at the top of his little goblin-y lungs, but whatever. Shooting! Are these spear chuckers going to actually do something today? He's going to shoot at that, which is within half range, so hitting on a 4 rather than a 5. Miss! And this one is going to shoot at the Plague Monks, hitting on a 4. Miss! Come on! And all of these are going to shoot at the Rat Ogres, And they are hitting on 4s as well, I believe. 4 hits, 10 total. Wounding on 5s, 1. But at least they don't get any save to it. It just didn't really help much. They can't shoot because they rallied this turn. I remembered that they had bows. And no combat, so we go into the Deathtoll turn 5. Wow, weird. It's rare that you get a round this late in the game with no combat. Plague Monks are going to charge that unit directly ahead because they cannot help themselves and there is really no reason for them not to. Rat Ogres are going to charge the archers, and the reason I didn't redirect the charge before was because stand and shoot could be devastating. But as Rat Ogres are within their movement, yet the Goblin Bows are not quick to fire, they cannot stop it. The Skaven Slaves are also going to charge the archers, and they also don't need to roll. Everybody's so close, we don't need to be doing any rolling on these. And they are going to charge there, but they do need to roll because they need to roll a 3, I think. It doesn't matter, they rolled higher anyway. Yeah, they did, they needed a 3. So they are going to charge in. And just to check, where are they hitting? They are predominantly in the front arc, so they will have to rotate a bit to meet. There we go. Magic. 9. But I kind of don't think it's worth casting Pestilent Breath at this stage, because the most I can do is wipe out the unit, which I'm going to do in combat, and there's the chance that Balfroth might explode. So, yeah, at this stage, not worth it. No shooting either, so straight into combat. Let's try and take out the general first. And Cruiser is going to challenge, because he is dumb as a brick, and thinks that he can take on a chariot. He is, however, quite fast, gets 3 attacks hitting on 4s, 2 hits, wounding on 4s, 1 wound, 5+ armor, passes. Naffnat, Orc Lord, it gets 4 hits, 1 actually hit, 4+ to wound, failed. 2 wolves hitting on 4s, 1 hit, wounding on a 5, fail. 2 crew hitting on 5, wow, 1 hit, wounding on a 5, 1 wound, saving on a 3, saved it, and because of the Warpstone armor, he then inflicts a Strength 4 hit back at the chariot. So this will be directed at the chariot, not at Naffnat. So that's a 4 to wound, so wounds the chariot. Oh, it seems I might have got the chariot armor save thing wrong. I was doing it as like, because Naffnat has a 6+ armor, and the chariot is a 5+, so I was doing it as it was 5+ modified by the armor to a total of 4+, but apparently that's not the case. Apparently it's they're separate, so if you're attacking the chariot, that's a 5+, if you're attacking Naffnat, that's a 6+. I suppose that is the same for ridden monsters, but it would be improved by 1 rather than by 2, so it would be a 5+ armor. I can't remember which dice roll that was, I'll remember it for the next time. Anyway, the chariot gets a 6+ for the strength 4 hit back, so the chariot actually takes a wound. So that's the green one. That is sort of funny that the only wound dealt in this entire combat was one of the goblins getting like struck back as his sword bounced off Cruiser's magic armor. So they also get 3 for the ranks and 1 for the banner, so they Naffnat loses the combat by 6. So he's testing on a double 1, which he fails. Not actually by that much. Swift Stride. So he flees 9. Oh, he's actually going to hit the lava. Cruiser's unit is following. Doesn't catch up. So that goes... It does hit this, so what effect does Lava Pool have? Movement is halved. So going from here, he had 9, touches it after 3.5, so it only goes another 2.25. So maybe with that, the 7 can actually... Yeah, the 7 does now catch him because he got slowed down by the magma he touched. Boom. Naffnat is wiped out. Run down as his chariot falls into the magma of Blackfire Pass. That is devastating. Models passing through a magma pool suffer strength 6 hit with armor piercing. So only 1 is actually in there, and I can do the reform after. Oh no, I don't reform after this. Instead, there's just the 1 who takes a strength 6 hit. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It says any who end their move in there are removed as casualties, so I don't need to to roll for that. He's just dead, and then one will just move in to replace him. But Plague Monks against the Orcs. Balfroth will challenge because Glazog has been irritating him all bloody match. And as he cannot go anywhere, like there is no second rank, he has to do the fight. Hitting on 3s, all 4. Wounding on 3s, 2. He has no armor. He just immediately gets clubbed to death by Balfroth. 17 Plague Monks attacks, because I don't know if this one can actually hit, because the only one he could have hit before was Glazog. Hitting on 4s, 6, 12. Wounding on 5s, though. Yep, 6 wounds. Saving on 5s. Oh, wow. Wow, 4 successes. And a parry on the other 2. Wow, only 1 wound from all of that. The 3 orcs left hitting on 4s. Wow, nothing. Both have banners, but they get 3. So they the orcs lose by 7, testing on double 1. Fail. They flee. 6, they are pursued. 5. So they get to there, and they are pursued. 5. So it's very, very close. They've got this massive horde of Plague Monks right on their tail. Not that they have tails, but they are technically still going. Oh, actually, that would have broken quite a while ago because of Last Stand. So they actually would have had fewer attacks, but it doesn't really matter. They also probably only would have rallied on it. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's so many rules. It's really hard to keep track of them all. I'm sorry. Against the Roguers, the Goblins have to test for fear, and they fail, so they're hitting at weapon skill 1. Muta Slack gets his 1 whip attack, which is a hit. Wounding on a 3, fail. 10 Roguer attacks, hitting on 3s, 5. And they wound on 2s, 5 wounds, no saves. 6 Skaven Slaves, hitting on 3s. It's a rare day that Skaven Slaves get hit on 3s. Ooh, 5. Wounding on 4s, 2. 6 plus armor, 1 success. 10 archers attacking the Roguers, hitting on 5s, 3. Wounding on 5s, 1. No saves. They actually kill a Roguer, putting Muta in the front rank, and then 4 against the Slaves. Hitting on 4s, none. Skaven get 3 for the rank bonus, meaning the Goblins lose by 9 and need a double 1, which they fail. So they... Oh, actually, hang on. I forgot the stomps. There's 2 automatic hits. 1... Yeah, just 1 more wound. So not that it really matters, it's just if they manage to escape, it's just going to be 1 fewer fleeing, you see. So they fled 9, and the Skaven Slaves are pursuing 4, the Roguers are pursuing 2. So yes, the Goblins do manage to escape, because the Skaven decide, you know, well, we don't really want to chase these people down. Muta's probably like, oh, I'm on the front row. I don't like being on the front row. Goblin turn 5. I'm astounded that the stone golems, the stone trolls, have done nothing this entire game. Like they've just done nothing. First of all, I've got to test for Goblin Rider Animosity, pass, and Troll Stupidity on a 4. Fail. Yeah, I think the mistake I made is they absolutely need to be near Inspiring Presence. If not, they just cannot function. They stumble another 5 inches forwards. I just have no idea what to say to this. Oops. I don't think they can charge, can they? Measure from that one to there. 17. No, that's... Actually, that is possible, because they have a movement of 9. 15, so they only need a 6, and they've got 3 dice. So yeah, they're going to try and charge. 8, they make it. They're just going to careen into the back of the Skaven Slaves. I think I measured that right. Seems like a very long distance, but they're also quite quick. They're one of the fastest units at 9 inches. The Orcs, because they're reduced to less than a quarter of their starting, they have to pass on a double 1. which they very nearly do, but they don't. And they flee 6 inches, which is off the board. The archers are testing on a 6, which they pass. They do rally. There is no magic on the goblin side anymore, but there is shooting. They are going to shoot point blank bloody range here. 4+. Miss! And they're going to shoot across at the plague monks. 4+. 1. I may have got a 1 in a previous round and I forgot, but they have a rule called slipshod, which means if you roll a 1 to hit, they misfire according to the stone thrower chart. And I rolled a 1, so it is destroyed. Just the spear chucker just explodes for no reason, just because it's so poorly made. That is usually what Skaven stuff does. And these guys can't shoot because they rallied, so no shooting, straight into this combat. And the Skaven are faster. I'm just going to put all 5 against the Wolf Riders. I think that's their best chance at standing anything in this fight, but they're probably going to break just because they're Skaven slaves. Hitting on 4s. 2. Wounding on 4s. 1. 4+ armor. Pass. Little Naffnat hitting on 3s. All 3. Wounding on 3s. Oh, hang on, he's got +1 strength on the charge. How did I miss that this entire time? They got spears. Is that the same for the others? Oh, it is. They have +1 strength on the charge. This whole time I didn't notice. God, I think I'm mostly on top of it, and just another rule just slips through. 2 wounds anyway. 5 wolves hitting on 4s. 3 wounding on 4s. 1 6+ armor. Nope. 10 riders hitting on 4s. 5 wounding on 4s. No, wounding on 3s. So that's 4 wounds because of the spears that I've remembered exist. They get 1 for the banner, 1 for the rank. They don't get any for the rank because they are disrupted, which means they do not get a rank bonus. That also means they're going to be testing on just double 1. So double 1 or they panic. They panic, although they almost held on. And every unit within d6 inches is going to take some damage as they scatter 2 inches. So that's the Roger unit, and that is it. And the Wolf Riders, obviously. So there's going to be d3 plus 3 hits. 5 total against the Wolves. Wounding on 4s. 3. Saving on 4s. All 3 saved. These are actually randomized, so they'll hit the Rogers on a 1-4 and Muta on a 5 or 6. 1 against Muta, 4 against the Rogers. Wounding on 5s against the Rogers. 2. Wow, that did a lot of damage. But Muta might die from this. 5 against Muta. No, he's okay. Second massive unit of Skaven slaves destroyed by these Wolf Riders. To be honest, that is a very worthy use of Skaven slaves. And then they're going to rally. They won't overrun because that will put them in a tricky situation. But if they reform that way, then they can probably charge the Rogers next round. As we go into the final Skaven turn. To be honest, there isn't a lot they can do here. They're going to reform to face that way. They're going to reform to hopefully get everybody out of the fire. Actually, change my mind because... Oh, what have I done? Moving through the fire causes hits, so I'm just going to sort of back up. And that's just going to cause 1 hit on that guy, which is a wound and definitely is a kill. That's really dangerous. Don't stand in magma, guys. Oh yeah, but these guys are going to charge. And they're within the minimum. But they're not within within their move. So they do get a stand and shoot. Hitting on 5s because of the -1 for standing and shooting. 2. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. That's another Roger dead. Wow. Which is actually going to cause a panic test. Because it's a quarter. Testing on 6. Oh no, okay, yeah, they panic and they break. And they flee 11, well 12 because of the +1 for being Skaven. So they just flee down here. And that is, I think, just it? I don't know, is it worth trying another plague? I think it probably is, let's try that. 7. Channeling Bilefroth, yes. Not that it really matters. There's only 1 spell he can cast. I will put 5 into it and I need 15. Ooh, I thought that was an irresistible. 19 total He's going to use all 5 of his Dispel dice to try and resist it. 22. He actually manages to dispel it. Okay, worth a try. Could easily have backfired and caused Muta to die from the plague. Not that Balefroth would have minded at all. No shooting, no melee. That is the end of the Skaven turn, and the final Goblin turn is... What can he actually... Oh, hang on, Animosity first. He's fine. And the Goblins... They're fine. Right, what can he charge? He wants to do something. He could charge them, but that is it? That is literally all he can do. Okay, yeah. We'll finish it off with a dramatic fight against Balefroth. 12, so he needs 3 on... Yeah, easy. Goes charging in to fight. Like, they've been so mobile. They've just, like, whipped all the way around there in the time it's taken them to just, like, stumble forwards. Speaking of which, testing on a 4. Fail. So they just move 2 inches forwards. Horrendously disappointed with these. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're a bad unit. It's just, I misunderstood how much they needed to be within the leadership sphere. Shooting. They're going to shoot on a 4. Nope, it's a misfire. If this explodes as well, I'm just going to be... no, may not shoot, so just can't shoot this turn. So, yep, that was... They did nothing. They didn't get a single hit the entire game, these 2 spear chuckers. What about you? Can you shoot the fleeing roguers? They're all at long range. Oh no, hang on, it's a range of 18 actually. Some of them can't. None of them can. Yeah, none of them can. They're actually out of range. So this is it. It's just this combat. That's all that's left of the game. Which means, and I really didn't think I'd get a chance to do this, the Plague Monks are going to activate the Plague Banner, which is a 1-use only, activate in any close combat phase, and the unit can reroll to hit and to wound. I thought I'd missed the chance, but no, I didn't expect to get this final little fight. Lil Naffnat is challenging, and Balefroth will accept it. Here they are, just face to face. Lil Naffnat is thinking that he's inherited the tribe, and Balefroth is going to show him what he has inherited instead. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, all 4 wounding on 4s. And the question is, does the Plague Banner affect him? No, it specifically says Plague Monk models in the unit. Fair enough. He has a 5+ save, and he saves both of them. Wow, Lil Naffnat survives the battle, assuming he doesn't get run down at the end of all of this. Hitting on 4s, 1 hit, but he does have a spear, increasing his strength, so he wounds on a 3. No, he failed. Well, that's anticlimactic. The wolf hits on a 4, and misses. These wolves hit at the same time as the Plague Monks, so I'll do those first. 4 wolves. On 4s, 2. Wounding on 5s. Wow, 2 wounds. No saves or anything. And now 18 attacks, hitting on 3s with a reroll. 5. 13. Rerolling the 5. Brings it up to 16 hits. Wounding on 4s with a reroll. 7. 12. I'm sort of surprised something called the Plague Banner doesn't give poisoned attacks. Instead, it just makes them better at hitting and hurting, I guess. 4+ armor for the Wolf Riders. 7 fails. Oh, that is really bad for them. That is almost the entire unit. They actually have to dig into the command. And then the remaining goblins hit on 4s. 2. Wounding on 5s. 2. Wow, they did actually get 2 more kills out of this. They each have a banner, but the Plague Monks have 3 for the ranks. So they win by 5. Meaning they need a double 1 to hold, which they do not get. And they proceed to flee. 12! And are pursued. 4. And before I move them, they will have to test for panic. So they flee all the way up there, because they are very quick when they want to be. And they pursue up to there. And now the goblins test on 6. They panic, and they flee. 11. They may go off the board here. That's why I bothered to test, you see. I think they are, because they move away from the most numerous. They're off the board. That's another unit gone, and all of the victory points. And with that, that is the end of the game. The trolls did absolutely nothing. And although Muta and his Rat Ogre are fleeing, they are still on the board, so they count as survivors. One Spear Chucker and like little Naffnat and a few of these riders left, but the tribe is decimated. Clan Deathtoll has claimed this land and will be coming through it in force. Out of the 123 members of the Goblin tribe that took to the field today, 12 are still standing, and 6 seem oblivious to the fact a battle happened at all. And of the 167 Skaven, I think about 51 are alive, including the 3 leaders of the army and their units. Their units are the only ones that survived, so apparently if you want to survive in Clan Deathtoll, stick to one of the leaders. Clan Deathtoll scored 946 for dead or fled, another 50 for captured standards, and another 100 for the dead general, giving them a total of 1,096 victory points. Whereas the Goblin tribe scored 393 for dead or fled and nothing else. So I think that is another massacre. And something I have noticed in 8th edition is that these massive disparities of points is very common, because you don't get any points for units that are still standing, like this one. 360 odd points of this unit, and it's almost depleted, but it's not depleted, so they get nothing. And over here there was the Goblin Riders and Lil Naffnat. Like these two comprised about a third of the total points of the army. But because, I mean, one of them was completely untouched, but the other one, it is still standing, and even though it was fleeing, it's still worth nothing. So it's an odd system, but that is the system, and yeah, so it looks like a massacre for Clan Deathtoll. So we will see how that affects the campaign, and next time I will be fighting Solland Revivalists versus Wizenland. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Apologies about all the rules I missed. Again, there are so many. If you haven't already seen the other match, go check that out. That'll be linked at the end and in the description. And I will see you next time. Subscribe for more board games, card games, miniatures like this, and TTRPGs. And I will catch you later.